Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Hanging with Nate the Drummer. I'm really excited to talk to my next guest. He's an acoustic one-man jam. You guys are going to love him. He's been around for a while. He's a very busy man, so luckily I was able to track him down and get some time with him. His name is Dave Gates. All right, let's bring him in. There he is.
Hey, what's going on, Nate? How you doing tonight, man?
Good. How are you?
Good. Just got some food in me, so I feel better.
I appreciate it, man. I really appreciate you coming on, taking some time for me.
For sure. So,
all right. So before we get started, let me get to know you. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Duncannon. I live in Marysville now, so I'm still in the Perry County area. But I've lived everywhere. I think I've lived 17 or 18 different places since I turned 18. So I'm kind of all over the place. So
that's crazy. And you probably play all over the place too, huh?
Yeah. Anybody that'll have me. I mean, I'll play. I played in Maryland, I think last week or something like that. And I was supposed to play in South Carolina this year and Key West and a bunch of other places, but Rona. So
yeah, it's definitely been a crazy time. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, it's been a nightmare. But it's been a nightmare for everybody. We're not in this alone. So
yeah, it's amazing something like this could happen. Did you ever think that something would stop you from being able to play music?
Yeah, not whatsoever. Like that's what I was the other day. I was like, man, everything we had all this steam chugging along. Like I released my album like the week that Rona hit.
Wow.
The week that quarantine started, I decided I was like, yeah, it's a great time to drop an album. Let's put an album out. So I put that out, and I was surprised with the sales considering everything was going on. It's been relatively steady, but never would have predicted something like this going on, man. It doesn't make much sense, but.
Yeah. I always, you see people walking with masks, like just to think that a mask is such a thing now, and they're all customized. People getting customized masks. I'm like, man, what are we coming to?
Yeah, man. I'll tell you, I was a late adopter. I had the surgical mask, the white one. I just had one of those for forever. And then I went on vacation with my daughter, and I was like, I don't want to wear that into like restaurants and all that. So I bought the black ones that they have at Dollar General. Like I refused. Like one day I found myself, I was looking online. I was like, let me see. I found some Sublime face masks.
Ooh. And
I'm like, I'm not accessorizing my face. It's not going to happen. Like, I don't care. I don't care. What am I going to use that for after this is done? Just in case I become a surgeon? I have no idea. It doesn't make much sense. Right? So.
It really doesn't. They got football teams and everything now. It's crazy.
Right.
So Bob Patterson, I think, was the one that got me onto you, and thanks, Bob. Shout out to Bob.
Bob. Love it.
But he said that you have a crazy story, of how you started music. So why don't you let everybody know your story? What inspired you to create music?
Sure. So really, like, if I go way back, I used to mow lawns when I was like between 11 and 12, 13, somewhere in there. I can't remember the exact age, but I would mow lawns for a guy who lived up the street from me. I would mow his lawn, and then he would give me a guitar lesson.
Oh, wow.
And I did that for like a couple of years, all total. And it was off and on. It wasn't all the time. It wasn't every week. I mean, grass doesn't grow in the winter. And then when I became a teenager, I realized that I didn't like guitars as much as I liked like girls. I didn't like guitar as much as I liked everything else. And so I stopped taking lessons, and from there I was in a show choir at school. So I was in that, and that was enjoyable. I had a great time with that. We went to Hawaii in 2001.
Wow.
Competed in this competition, nationwide competition. So I was kind of around music the whole time. And then when I was 22, I started DJing. And I was like, I had no stage presence. I couldn't talk to people. I was super shy. So I was okay at picking out music and reading crowds. Like I got used to reading a crowd, and I could be like, okay, this crowd's going to want to hear nothing but Buck Cherry and like that kind of stuff, because there's a certain type of crowd you'll see them and you'll be like, and they want, whatever, Dirks Bentley or, So that's kind of where I got that kind of the intuition to read a crowd and kind of a large music catalog that I was learning. And then I realized I didn't want to be a DJ anymore because I didn't feel comfortable interacting with people.
Right, I get that.
I was socially awkward. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do stand-up comedy because stand-up comedy is going to eliminate any stage fright that I have, like whatsoever. So I went out to my one friend, Patrick Garrity. He's a national comedian. He tours, and he does this never-ending tour. He lives in his car. He's lived in his car for like 13 years. So he was in town and he was like, hey, you should just do it. Like, if you want to do it, just do it. So I started going to open mics in Harrisburg at the Comedy Zone. And I went there for a couple of weeks and just watched them. And then I decided to get up on stage. And I got up and I did my tight 5 minutes and enjoyed it. Thought it was incredible. I was like, I found my calling. I'm going to do comedy. Like, this is amazing. And 4.5, 5 months or so, I would go to open mics. I would go to shows. I did like a show at a winery in Gettysburg for my friend, Jim Bryan. It was like he just kind of brought a bunch of people down there and we told jokes. And I died the death of 1,000 men in front of the crowd. Down there in Gettysburg when I dropped a poorly timed joke. And then I heard crickets for 4.5 minutes. And those kind of moments, man, they do something. So what that did for me was anytime I'm on stage now, there is literally zero stage fright. I don't care if there's 2 people in the room or 200 people.
Wow.
It doesn't bother me because nothing is ever going to be as bad as that 4 minutes in Gettysburg for the rest of my life. There's nothing that's going to compare to that. I don't. If I have one person clap at a show now, it's incredible. So I was doing stand-up comedy and I realized like 5 months in, I'm like, all right, I have a friend that I made while I was doing that. He's been doing comedy for years. And he's like, I'm getting ready to go to Baltimore. He's from Harrisburg. He's like, I'm getting ready to go to Baltimore. It's like a Tuesday night. And he's like, I get $10 to do this spot. And I'm going, yeah, that's not it. I don't think this is it either, really, because I got to be able to make some kind of. I'm not driving to Baltimore on a Tuesday for $10. It's not going to happen
for real.
So I was like, I started kind of. It was in the back of my head. I was still writing comedy. I was still kind of working on my stage act, and I was at the Advanced Auto Parts in Enola, Pennsylvania, and I was walking out of the store. And I had not this shirt on, but I had another Sublime shirt on. And this guy starts yelling, "Yo, Sublime. Yo, Sublime." I'm like, "Yo, Sublime what?" And I'm looking around and I'm like, "Oh, me. Oh, okay. He's talking to me." I was like, "Oh, what's up? What's up?" So he walks over and he's like, "Listen," I said, "I'm homeless and I've got a backpack and I got a dog and I got this guitar. Like, I can't. This is too much. Like, I'm carrying around a guitar and I'm doing all this." He's like, "Will you take this guitar?" And I looked at him and I'm like, I mean, the guitar at the time, the headstock was broken. And I know it's a headstock now, but at the time, all I looked at, I was like, he's trying to give me a broken guitar. Like, why am I giving him? Okay, what am I going to do with a broken guitar? But I looked at him and I was like, all right, man, listen, like, I'm not just going to take your guitar. Like, I gave him $10. I was like, I'll give you $10 for it. So I grabbed, gave him $10. He's like, God bless you, man. Thank you. And, so I take his guitar and I come home and I'm like playing around on it a little bit, just kind of plunking around. And I'm like, like, I really enjoyed, I think I forgot how much I like playing guitar. Like, this could be a lot of fun. So I started practicing on that guitar for a little bit, for like a week or two. And then I was like, I need to go buy a guitar. Like, this guitar is not a great guitar. So I got online and I was looking at guitars and I'm like, you know what, let me look at, because this guitar looks old. That guitar he gave me looks really old. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to check it out. So I'd like type in the serial number off of it. Turns out it's like a original Yamaha folk acoustic from the early 1960s.
Oh, wow.
It was right. Yeah, it was made. It was made during this I think it's either 1 or 2 year period where they only made it out of this certain type of wood during those 2 years, which makes it an extremely valuable guitar, even broken. So, I mean, broken, this thing's going for like $2,200 or so on eBay.
Wow.
So I took that as a sign that something, whatever you want to call it, divine intervention, the universe, whatever, is going, hey, you're supposed to do this. Like, you just got a $2,000 guitar for $10. And so I went out and bought a guitar. I went out and bought a Fender T-Bucket. Acoustic guitar, had like this laminate top on it that looked like a book cover. And I practiced on that for about 4 hours a day, legitimately, for like 6 months or so straight. And I would practice, and then I would go to the open mic that my friend Wally DeWall was running at Johnny Joe's in Mechanicsburg. So he'd run that every Wednesday night. I'd go down there every Wednesday night, and I would get up on stage from like the 5th or 6th week after I started practicing. And I was terrible at the beginning. Like, I would just kind of strum some chords, and I relied on my singing to get me through. So I would really lean heavy on that, and I kept practicing and kept going to the open mic, kept practicing, kept going to the open mic. And then one day, it was in November of 2018, Wally was like, hey, I came down with a cold. I can't play this show. It's at Flinchie's in Camp Hill. He's like, can you sub in for me? And I'm like, oh, how long is it? He's like, 3 hours. I'm like, oh, no.
No pressure,
right? You're right. Yeah. So I was like, I looked and I'm like, all right, average, I can get like 10 to 12 songs in an hour, somewhere in there. So I had 44 songs, I believe, that I could play at the time, and not well. Most of those were just like I had an Elton John song I had to bow out of that night. Because it was terrible. And I was like, I'm not going to put the crowd through this. So I played every song I knew that night. And 3 of them I played twice. And I got through the gig, man. And after that, I started kind of putting my name out there, and I emailed. I spent just as much time emailing and messaging, Facebook messaging venues as I did anything else. And I probably sent out 500 to 1,000 messages in that 2-month period. Just, will you book me? This is my rate. I'm not that expensive. And basically, I spent all of 2019. I did like 200 shows in 2019. And all of those were good. They were good for me because basically I was going there and I was learning as I was playing. So people would request a song. If I didn't know the song, I'd write down which one they requested. Then I'd go home and learn that song. And then next time I'd come there, I'd be able to play it. And now I play like 1,700 songs, something like that. It's
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
I was looking at the list. I actually was on your page and I was seeing all the different variety of, and I was like, let's see how many he's got. And I was like, okay, I hit like 50, and I was like, no, I can't count that high. We'll just, like, there's got to be at least 100 some songs on here.
Yeah, it's crazy. Whatever I did, because what I did was I was like, I want a way for people to see the songs that I can do, because a lot of times people that come out to shows, they don't request music because they don't know what you can play, and they don't want to be the person that comes up and is like, can you play this? And then you say no, and then they're like, oh no, like I didn't have a backup plan whenever you said no. So I was like, I'll put all my songs on my website, and then people can just go right to my website. I tell them at the beginning of the show, go to my website. It's got every song that I can do on there, which is not quite caught up right now, but you can go there, and then all you got to do is be like, this was on your site. Because little inside knowledge, out of those 1,700 songs on there, there's probably 400 or so that I've never played before in my entire life. And if somebody comes up to me and they're like, this is on your site, I'm playing it that day. Like I forget there was, yep, you got it. And somebody asked for Stairway to Heaven the other day, and I'm like, I don't play it. They're like, it's on your site. I was like, well, here we go. Awesome, great. Strap in. We're doing this together. Oof. So
that's no small feat.
No, but it's fun. I wanted to make it where I did songs that not everybody does. Like I do Renegade in an acoustic version, and not a lot of people do that. Like I like 90s hip hop, so I do a ton of 90s hip hop. Like I'm playing a show tomorrow. I have Paula Abdul on my set list. Like it's it's
which
whatever
one?
I feel. Of course, Straight Up. It's got to be Straight Up. I can't do anything other than that. If I do, they'll be like, play Straight Up. I'll be like, yeah, that's okay. Great. Awesome. That's what I was going to do.
Hey, did you ever think how different it would have been if you would have taken the guy's dog?
Right. That's what I thought sometime. I'm like,
would you be a veterinarian now?
It's like, what happens if I said no? If I said no to the guitar, would he have been like,
yeah,
take
what about the dog? Something out of my hands.
Right. It was a pit bull, and it did not look friendly. Wow. And I'm not a judger on dogs. I don't discriminate, but I mean that dog was at least as heavy as I was at the time. That dog was thick and looked like it was in charge. And yeah, man, I've never seen that guy again.
Isn't that weird? And to think of the irony that you had that expensive guitar that was his, if he would have pawned it, well, who knows what he would have got if he pawned it. But to think that it was $2,200 that he could have used, like crazy how things work.
It doesn't. That's when I was like, all right. I mean, this guy's been walking around with this because it's weathered. I was like, this guy's been walking around with this thing for a while. There's no way that he didn't know how valuable this guitar was. Like, why wouldn't he just I would have gave that up to stay in a hotel room for a month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For real.
Like,
yeah, it's so crazy how serendipitous the world can be sometimes, and you and I have a lot in common actually, because I've done stand up. So I have a unique perspective. The X had they used to have the biggest joke contest. They had it a couple years back. I was in that. I made it to the semifinals 2 years in a row. So, and I have eaten crap on stage as a comedian. So I get it. When you tell the jokes and they just don't laugh, but you're like, this is funny stuff. You're not listening. But that was a little different. That was like a popularity contest. They would like invite your friends out to come and cheer you on, and so you get 5 minutes, but they're not going to laugh if you're not their friend, unless you're really good. You know what I mean? They're like,
you got it. Yeah, man.
But, and I think I might have shut that down because I was pretty dirty, and like you said, I've had those awkward jokes. You're like, oh, this is not going to go good if you didn't like that.
That one didn't feel good. The rest of this is going to be terrible. Yeah. I know Tom Sanford is a friend of mine. He won that biggest joke competition the one year at the X. Yeah, he's a great comedian. Well, I don't know if he still does it. He lives in Delaware or somewhere. He kayaks all the time now. I don't know what he does, but he did comedy for a while. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely like, I admire you getting up and playing guitar in front of people and singing because that's so intimate too. Joke telling is one thing, and yeah, it's just an intimate thing. You're putting yourself out there. So when you get a rejection or something, it's just like, I'm not doing this again, Like,
Right. I mean, I really enjoyed the experience. You know what I mean? And it's not something that I would never do again. Like,
I've thought about it.
once everything opens back up, I almost plan on challenging myself to get back up there and do it again. And I mean, if anybody's interested, my first stand-up set is on YouTube. It's on my YouTube
Oh,
channel.
wow.
So you can find it there. It's all 5 minutes, and it's on my. That was one of the funnest nights of my entire life because the crowd loved it. And it might have been because I was new and they hadn't heard the same jokes a million times and all that, but it went really well. And I look back at that sometimes and I'm like, man, that was really awesome. So
I look back at some of the things that I said in front of perfect strangers. I did a impression of Kermit and Miss Piggy having sex, and I was like, man, I did that in front of people. What was I doing?
Well, you can't take some stuff back, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy. So what's your writing process?
Man, so what I like to do is usually I like to get a chord structure down. So I like to get down kind of a flow of how I want a song to move. Right now, I've been writing a lot of stuff. The problem that I have right now, which is a problem that I'd imagine a lot of artists have right now, is I want to write songs that are about happiness or about fun or about something other than everything sucking. But I'm really stuck in the process of writing about stuff that sucks right now because life is, it's dark. It's a dark time. It's a dark time produces dark music. Dark times produce dark paintings. All artists kind of work the same way.
Totally.
But I'm definitely, I get the music down. I get the chord structure down. I get kind of where I want that to go. And then I figure out what kind of lyrics fit in with the feeling of that song. And then that's usually what I go through. Sometimes, I really flip flop though, because sometimes I'll write a poem and I'll be like, all right, let me see what I can do with this poem. Let's put that to words. But really the biggest thing that I found helpful for writing songs is listening to other artists that I really like Jason Isbell is a perfect example. He has like 9 albums on Amazon Prime, if anybody has Prime Music. And you can listen to all that stuff, and his lyrical work that he can do is incredible. That man, he's been through some stuff and he writes about it, and I can really sometimes I pull off the energy of that, but it's really just I need to be by myself. That's the best way for me to write, number one, because distractions, if I get distracted, I am like Dory the fish, man. I'm all over the place. You won't. You got it. Yep. It's all over from there, and I'm like, well, I'll start writing next year. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. I just it won't pick it back up. But like, I have my notebook right here, and this has this is what I write in most of the time, and it's got all kinds of random papers and lyrics, and my whole first album's in here, and probably a couple songs for the new album are in there. So I just sit down and write, and sometimes I found that as weird as this sounds, like journaling. So at night before I go to bed, I write down everything that's in my head. In the morning, I get up, and first thing I do is I write. I'll just write. And it's really I'm not writing about anything. Sometimes it's just gibberish. I just woke up. I am still awake. You know what I mean? I'll just write whatever's in my head. But once I get all that junk out, then you can really start to put in some work on getting some lyrics and getting what you're feeling and all that onto paper. So,
well, you said about the lyrics, and one thing that stuck out with me was "Not Ready."
Oh
Just
yeah.
listening to the generic vibe of it and trying to figure out what you're talking about because there's so many different things. So how did that one come about? Because I really like that one.
All right, so that one started as a song about quitting smoking, right?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so that's what it started as, and it morphed into man, just kind of everything, like I've been
Yeah,
through a lot of
crazy.
stuff,
Mm,
and and it really was just like saying, like I'm not ready. Like this isn't the end. I'm not giving up. This is not where the story is going to stop for me. And yeah, man, because quitting smoking was terrible.
I bet.
But because I smoked from 13 to 34, so whatever that's 21 years, I believe. So all that time, and then I just went like I tried quitting, and then I start smoking again. I tried quitting, start
Oh
smoking again,
yeah.
and as of August of this year, August 11th of this year, that was my 1 year anniversary of quitting smoking,
Wow.
man.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But like that's what the song started as. But like I said, once it got going, it was more of it really morphed into something bigger than a quit smoking song.
Yeah.
Um, it's really
Definitely.
for anybody who's struggling with anything. You know what I mean? Like just to not be ready to give up.
Mhm.
Don't be ready to give in. That kind of thing. And it's people really connect with the song, and I love it. I mean, it's my favorite song to play, hands
Mhm.
down, live. Until the new album comes out, then I'll love all that stuff. But
Yeah. Yeah, it's listening to the songs you have. You have summertime, and so you have a little bit of some niceness, some fun times, but then you also have not ready, and yeah, just the it went from ashes to being new, right? Isn't that
yeah,
what it is?
yeah, man, yeah, yeah,
It's like wow, that one like woof, chills. That's when you know it's good.
yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, it was that lyric really fit in there for me. Whenever I was writing it, I was trying to figure out because I've been there. I've been in that,
Mhm.
and we all have. I think I've
Yeah,
been there where all that's left of me is a pile of ashes,
yeah,
and then you got to glue that stuff back together and get back up and start over again. And yeah, man, from ashes to being new is the best way I could
yeah,
sum that up. So
yeah. It definitely works.
yeah, man.
Um, so what would be your favorite song to cover? I know you got so many, but is it
All right.
Sublime?
Well, that's it, right?
All right.
So yeah, I do like 12 Sublime songs, and those are some of my favorites. Right now, man, there is a bunch. Right now, one of my top ones of all time has been "No Diggity" by Blackstreet
Mm, that's a good one.
because I love playing it because a lot of people they come to an acoustic show and then they look up there and see me all tattooed up and up there doing with it. They aren't expecting me to play Blackstreet. That's not
No.
it's the furthest from their thoughts. So I'll play this medley that is, and I have it right here in front of me because I was just writing my set list for tomorrow night.
Mm.
So my set list for tomorrow night, I'll go from "No Diggity" to "Riders on the Storm,"
Oh,
to "Doing Time" by Sublime,
yeah.
uh, to "Straight Up" by Paula Abdul, to "I Want It That Way" by the Backstreet Boys.
Wow. Yeah, that's
So
diverse.
yes, so that'll be five. That's a 5 song medley. We won't take any breaks in between that. That'll just kind of flow in and out. I enjoy doing that kind of music. I enjoy doing like I have Jimi Hendrix. I play that all along the Watchtower, and
Mm.
I mix that with "Last Dance with Mary Jane."
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
so yeah, but I'll float in between those songs. So I'll start one, I'll do a verse of one, and then I'll go do a
Mm.
verse of the other one. I'll do a verse of one, and I like doing stuff like that. Jason Isbell's "Cover Me Up" is one of my favorite songs right now. I love playing that live. The crowd doesn't enjoy it as much as I do.
Right.
It's a slower song, and it's, it is what it is. But I'm a big fan of that one as well. Yeah, man. There's so many.
I know.
I love playing I love playing Sublime. I think I have like 12 Sublime songs on my list. Like I love Sublime's music.
Me too.
The poster behind me is Bradley, the Sublime poster back there. And
Rest
on the
in peace,
background,
Bradley.
right? Yeah, for sure. And on the background on my computer right now that I'm looking at is a whole wall of Sublime stuff. So it's that's definitely a big part. I ended every single show for like the first 300 and some shows. I ended with What I Got. So like that's always my jam. That was my jam, my go-to jam at the end.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
And it gets the crowd. The crowd enjoys the song. Everybody sings along, and it's a good way to end the night. So I would say out of all of them, that's the one I played the most. So yeah, man, I don't know. That's a hard one, but I would say right now it's probably it's probably that "Cover Me Up" song by Jason Isbell. But that'll change next month.
Look that up.
Yeah, it's good. I did a cover of it, which is on my Facebook as well as my YouTube channel. I covered it. I hiked into the woods. And I took my guitar with me, and I set up a GoPro, and I just recorded songs.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, man, it's beautiful. There was the cicadas were out there, and then you could hear the river or the creek in the background. It was perfect. The acoustics were great where I set up too, because it was in between these two rock walls. So it was just, the sound just bounced around in there. It was absolutely beautiful. So
that's a good idea. I like that. Just going outside and doing it.
I love it. I mean, we're going to get a little colder now, so hopefully next year, you got it. You got it. The guitar that's right behind me, the Breed Love back there in the gig bag, I found a way I could get my tripod, my camera, and all that gear, the microphone gear, my guitar, my tablet, everything all in the pouch. And then I just put that on my back, and then I'd hike into wherever, set up and play and record. So
that's probably from your DJ days. I do that now because I'm a DJ. So pack as much together as you can. I got too much stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I can bring in 4 carts of groceries in one trip. It's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm a one trip kind of guy too. Like, nope, we're getting all these bags right now.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Have you ever been in a full band?
No. I have a bass player. I have a stand-up bass player. Well, he's not just stand-up, but he plays an upright bass. He's playing with me tomorrow night. I'm playing at Sherman's Creek Inn in Shermansdale tomorrow night with it's myself and Jeremy Sheriff is his name. Yeah, he's the only one I've ever played with, man. I've never really played. I played with a drummer at the open mics whenever I was going to those, but I've never had an actual drummer at one of my shows.
I happen to know one. I'm just saying.
Is his name Nate? No.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah. So, but I've never played with one at a show, but that forced me really to learn how to play percussion on the guitar.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I got to with that now. Like whenever I play, I'm very percussive on the way I play the acoustic guitar, and to the point where it makes it hard sometimes to jam with other guys because I've never been able to. I can't just strum chords now. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It does not compute. I'm like, wait, I don't have to do anything else. All I have to do is I just got to strum these. Okay. But I maybe at some point, I'm hoping to at some point, have a full band and be able to do shows that way, because I like the energy that a full band brings to the table. So
Yeah, man, I'm always down. I can
Yeah,
play bongos. Like I said, I have this cajon. I've never
oh,
seen one before. I got it. It looks like a stool,
it
but
does.
it's literally not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a minor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, simple, but it works good for acoustic shows.
No, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
I see acoustic guys using that all the time. My one friend Brant Uber, he's in a band called Das Brave. He plays the cajon, and he does pretty well at it. I've listened to them play. They're like Zeppelin ish. They're pretty
That's cool.
good. So yeah, man.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, do you have a full time job?
I do. I do. I'm a fertilizer technician. So
Oh,
I fertilize people's lawns. I've been doing it with the same company. I've been with them since 2011, something like that. And last year I was working like 2 days a week with them, 1 day a week because I was playing so many shows. So I cut it back, and they were super good about it. Like they were like, "Yep, you can go ahead. Like
that's cool.
that's something you want to do." And now, I mean, since COVID hit, I went
Mhm.
back to work full time, and so now I work 40 hours a week, and then I play 3 shows a week usually. So it's
Does that put you in perspective? Dealing with fertilizer and then going, humbles you in a sense.
it does. It does. To be completely honest with you, when I went back to work 40 hours a week, I was like, I didn't know they paid me this much. Like I had no clue how much they paid because I've been working 1 or 2 days a week for forever. I'm like, wow, you guys, no wonder I stay here. Like this is great. Like I should do this more often. Maybe I'll keep working here just all the time. I'll figure out a way to go on the road and still make it back for my day job. But
Yeah, there you go.
but yeah, man, it definitely working there helps in a bunch of ways.
Mhm.
And one of them is that I'm outside all day, kind of treating lawns and riding around on this machine. And I have my headphones in, and gives me a chance to listen to a ton of music from different artists. Like I've discovered recently, like the Crystal Skulls is one of my favorite bands now. There's a band called Drug Cabin. I'm like addicted to those
Huh.
guys. Uh, I can send you a list of some stuff, and you can get down the wormhole with me, buddy.
I'm
But
there, man. Let's do it.
oh, it's such good music, and you'll never hear it on the radio, and I can't believe that it's not. But so it gives me a chance to do that. It also helps me with my people skills. I talk to the customers all the time. I'm always, I'm bright eyed and bushy tailed there for the most part. I'm wearing a uniform, so I have to be, nice and
Mhm.
approachable. Um, and that really helps because it helps me learn how to deal with people that aren't so easy to deal with. Let's put it that way. Because a lot of times,
Well, I
whenever the
get that.
customers come out, the customers don't come out to tell you you're doing a good job. That doesn't happen. You'll get a card in the mail, maybe. But they'll definitely come out if you mess something up or if you killed their tomato plants. They might shoot at you. So
Gee.
but yeah, they get a little crazy. But that's the job, and it also affords me an escape from the weekend because the craziness with the crowd sometimes and the putting on the show every week and
Yeah.
the constant messages and stuff I got to do just to kind of keep this going. That's like an escape from it. I'm like, oh, all I got to do is show up and clock in and then just
Mm.
work. I don't have to make any decisions. Cool. Like I'm okay with that. Let me not make any decisions for 40 hours a week. I'm good with that. That's fine. So
Man, yeah. So how are you were the only one that I think through the pandemic seemed to still have gigs and we're still playing. How did you manage that?
well, I had a good network of places that I was playing because I think I have a list somewhere. I think I have like 140 or 150 venues that I work with.
Wow.
So that makes it nice because not everybody had outside seating. So like I took that 150 and I'm like, nobody, if you don't have outside seating, they're not doing entertainment. So
Mm.
that took away at least 100 of them. So then I had a 50 to choose from. And those 50, out of those 50, maybe 25 of them were booking music. Well, I only need, 8 a month.
Yeah.
So that made it where I could still play shows. But the biggest thing that helped me out of everything was putting this studio in the house. Because whenever all this happened, I'm like, man, I'm going to need to figure out a different way to get music out there because I had like 50 some shows cancel within a month of all this starting. And I was like, man, I still want to play for everybody. So I was like, I love the idea of live streaming music. Like I did that for a while. I would hop on every once in a while. I'd put my camera
Mm.
phone in front of me and I'd play to my phone. And then I started playing to my computer and that got a little bit better. But then I was like, hey, you know what I need to do is really commit to putting a studio in. And that's what I did. Like I put this room in the house. I have off to my left here is this wall that it's the red wall that everybody usually sees whenever I live stream.
Mhm.
So I have this and then I have all my audio equipment in here is a nice mixer and everything. And then that way there I can have an engineer in here, which is what I usually do for live streams. He'll come in and he'll sit and run the sound and take care of that. And then I'll just be over there playing and zoning out for an hour and a half. And
That's nice.
that made it where I went from 1,000 people following my Facebook page to 2,300 people
Wow.
through the pandemic. Just people tuned in and people shared it with their friends, and then those people, shared it with their friends, and like I have fans in like all 50 states now. I get, that's what I was thinking about live streaming tonight before I got on with you, but I wasn't quite feeling up to it. So, but I had messages I have fans in Montana and Arizona. Phil Root, he's a guy in Arizona that he supports me. He tips me through all the apps and stuff. He watches every live stream. Bryce Anderson in Montana, him and his wife Sheena, they watch every live stream. I actually showed up to a show in Halifax at Doughboys Pizzeria.
Mm.
And whenever I got there, I was like, I said, I'm going to get some food and a beer and stuff. And they're like, oh, hold on one second. They came out with a gift card. And it said from your Big Sky crew. And it was from people from Montana called the pizza shop in Halifax and bought a $25 gift card for me to eat dinner and have some beers.
That's amazing.
So
Yeah.
I was like, you guys just made my year. Like I could retire now. Like I'm not going to play music anymore. I'll just live in my own little Hall of Fame in my head. So
kind of a big deal here.
Yeah, kind of a big deal. They're like, yeah, you want to go outside and set up? There's 0 people out there waiting for you. I'm like, oh, cool. Thank you, I appreciate it. So,
back down to reality.
yeah. So.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's one thing I think that has really been a positive, in this pandemic. Everybody's home. That's what made me create this podcast, and I'm so glad I did. I've gotten to meet and show people that they might not have heard of, and that's what I hope with you. I hope people really, dig into you and listen to it. And, I love that I can help because I haven't been playing music, it's in me though. I love playing music, and I would, if I had the chance, I'd get out and play. I've wanted a 2-man thing for a while now, just because it seems like the less stress. I can't drum by myself and sing, as much as I've tried.
Yeah, no, I got you. I mean, dude, hey, I'm always down to. You want to come out and come to a show and set up and play along, man? You're more than welcome for sure.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take anything. I mean, that's why I brought Jeremy. Jeremy's with me, I think, twice this month or 3 times. I try to, whenever I can get him out too, because he plays with another guy, AD Chandler.
Mm.
And AD's super good. All AD does is originals, and his originals are phenomenal. And he's on Amazon Music as well for anybody who wants to check him out. So, I mean, but Jeremy bounces back and forth, but he's in the same position. He's a bass player. Yeah, I mean, he can't go out there and play bass by himself. And I mean, he could play like every Sublime song ever, probably.
Or Primus.
Primus, you got it. Yep, you probably play Primus.
Yeah.
I like bringing him out because whenever you see him up there in his, bald, tattooed, long beard, and then we play Backstreet Boys, the room usually just goes crazy, and it's funny to watch. I enjoy it every single time. I don't think that's ever going to get old. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've had that experience. I get that a lot as a DJ. I had somebody request not a white DJ. I'll put it that way. And my boss told me that, like, hey, they didn't really want you. Oh, okay, thanks. No pressure. But but I used it as fuel, like because I know a lot of songs. Like you said, '90s hip hop and whatever. I know it all. So I went out there, and with Spotify, it's all there. I used it as a tool. Like, okay, I'm going to show you that not all stereotypes are true. I'm going to show you that I can still give you what you want. I'll play whatever you want, and we're going to have a great time. And we did, and I feel like I broke down a little bit of a barrier there,
Yeah, so no,
it's
sure,
nice.
Man. Yeah. Nice. I'll tell you what, though, on these cameras that I'm looking at, though, man, when you said not a white, I just looked at the color complexion between the difference of us. I kind of look like a box jellyfish over here, man. I don't think I get any whiter. Good Lord.
There we go.
All right, there we go. All right, thank you. That's a little better.
I have a yellow tinge light up above me, so otherwise I'd be just as white as you are.
Gotcha. Yeah,
I put that on for the glare.
Yeah, you can almost see my veins through my skin, I think, right now. You can see my cat back there too. Apparently, I see.
Yeah, her back there. trying to photobomb you.
Yeah, that's Marley. I named her after Bob Marley. Yeah, she always is. She's big. Can I turn so you can see her? I don't know which way I got to go. Wow. There we go. Yeah, she's a big girl. Wow. She's a big girl. She can handle herself too. So she got Marley because she's lazy. She just lays around. Everything's cool, man. That's all she does. So
you got to be lazy to play reggae. I was in a reggae band, so I know it takes a certain something.
You got to slow it down. Yeah. You got to relax a little bit. That's all that is. I love it.
It's weird.
Slightly Stupid and that kind of stuff, and Dirty Heads and all of them. I love Stick Figure, like all that kind of reggae music. I try to pop that into shows too. Like I said, I was supposed to play in Delaware this year at the beaches down there, and that all got canceled. But that was on my set list for there, so I was going to play all kinds of reggae tunes. So.
There's so many good ones. We used to play. We played a lot of the more traditional stuff rather than Sublime and stuff like everybody else was doing. So we were doing Soul Rebel, stuff like that. No More Trouble.
Yes.
Some good. Johnny Be Good by Peter Tosh. We did a version of that.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Yeah, if you look up Sweet Ruckus on YouTube.
Okay.
There's a couple videos. That's probably the only time I ever played live. Our first gig was for the Harrisburg Islanders up on City Island.
Oh, very cool.
That was a cool gig.
That's a nice crowd.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For your first gig, especially. No pressure,
Yeah, no pressure. Yeah. We're going to get out here and play Inner Circle. They're like, what?
Yeah, right? So what song do you wish you wrote?
Whew, that's a good question, man. How about, all right. So there's a song by the Honey Honey Band called Burn Me Out. That song is, I wish I would have wrote that. That song lyrically, like it's like the lyrics like, oh babe, I gotta say, I learned the hard way with you. Like that's yes I did. Like that's just right there. From the first lyric, I was like, okay, yep. And then yeah, I soaked you up and you wrung me out on your line. Messing up my time all the way through. You can't just perfect lyrics, perfectly, and when it's put to music, the chord progression is just so beautiful. The way that they string it all together. Yeah, man, that would definitely be up on my list. I would give you
send that
an
to
example.
me.
Yeah, I'll for sure. I'll send
I'm
that.
curious. That's one good thing. I'm always I want every sort of genre on here. So if there's anybody that you can recommend that I should talk to, that people should know about, let me know.
Oh yeah, you should talk to Wally. I don't know if Wally knows how to work the technology it takes to be on this, but Wally DeWall, he's the bass player for Colt Wilbur's band, but he does his own thing, and he's the one that got me kind of started in all this. He's the one that runs the open mics, and he also he plays about the same amount of songs that I do. I mean, he's pretty ridiculous with his catalog of music as well, and he does it full time. He's a full-time musician.
Must be nice.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, he's good. Shine Delphi is one of my favorite people. That dude, I wish I wrote every song that he's ever written because they're all ridiculously good. There's a guy in New Cumberland. His name's Peter Stone. He's very legit as well. Yeah, man, there's so many out there. There's so many different artists that are great in our area. So,
do you have a favorite venue, or should we not say all of them?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, no. Man, all right. So I do. I have. It's a tie though. The first one is Penn's Tavern in Sunbury. I play there. It's like a Tuesday night gig. Usually when I play there, it's always packed, like packed. And even during social distancing, it was packed there, but they had tables because they have this huge waterfront area up against the Susquehanna. So they just put tables out there all socially distanced, and I put a speaker out pointing towards them, and I had my Bose system up on the deck that flooded the whole deck with music. That place was built, George Washington drank a beer at the bar there. That's how old the place is.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it is it's beautiful. They didn't do much different to it. It's still that kind of place. And then Broad Mountain Vineyard in Elizabethville. The crowd there. Because for me, the venue, I've played a lot of venues that are awesome, and big stage, small stage, cool, whatever. The people really make the venue. And I've played Broad Mountain Vineyard 10 times, something like that. And every single time the crowd sings along with every song from the first to the last note. Like
that's great.
Yeah, it's incredible. So that's where I would go with that.
Where do you think you'd be without music?
Probably be a salesman for John Deere. That's what I would say. Possibly. I would think that would be what I would be. I don't know, man. I don't know what I would do without music. Music,
it's scary.
Yeah, man. I know I couldn't function without it. Like music keeps me sane. Good Lord, my daughter is blowing me up right now.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. But yeah, I would say, yeah, man, I would have a real struggle with it for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
when you said about mowing lawns, I remember mowing lawns for money, and I had my Jackal. I had Jackal in my cassette player, my cassette Walkman.
Oh Lord, like
That's how.
the chainsaw people.
Yeah, oh yeah, the whole tape. Yep, that's
Wow.
that's how far I go back, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I actually saw Jackal at Tubby's in Duncannon
Oh man.
a while back when I was there. I was their resident DJ,
Mhm.
and yeah, Jackal played there, and they did the whole chainsaw song on the stage, and Jesse
Was it
cut the.
good?
Oh, dude, yeah, they were incredible. They were great. They were
That's
great.
so crazy. Yeah, but that's what it reminded me of. So, just stuff like that. I can't imagine not having music. Just riding around on the mower. I mean, of course you could do it, but it's not as much fun. That's for sure.
Right, for sure. Yeah, man.
What feeds your desire to play music?
Um, Man, I'll tell you, it's the feeling. It's the feeling I get when I play,
Mhm.
that feeling of the connection that you get with music. Because I don't just, like, when I listen to music, I don't really listen. I can't tell you the lyrics to any of the songs I listen to today. And I listen to music for 8.5 hours today. I feel the music.
Mhm.
I feel the emotion of the music. You could feel how the timing or the chords, the way that they're used, you can feel how everything was meant to make you feel, that that's really what I go to with music. It's just that I couldn't, uh, the, 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 the Crystal Skulls, which is that band that I listen to right now,
Mhm.
their music just kind of flows. It's like I'm not even sure how to put it. It's in and out. It's it's a happy feeling. I can listen to that all day and I'm in a good mood, at the end of the day. And yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know why I keep saying Crystal Skulls, but I love the Crystal Skulls. So
I'm gonna look them up. Hey, man, that's what it's
yeah,
all about.
yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, since you gave me Crystal Skulls, I'm gonna give you one. It's been around for a while, but they're called Firewater.
Firewater. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
really good, really eclectic. This guy, the lead singer, when when Bush got into office the second time, this guy decided to leave the country. He moved to Borneo and started going around to different countries and recording with people there. And it's very good. They have one called The Ponzi Scheme is the good album. Yeah, I think you'd really like it. It's very worldly but eclectic. The guy's got a cool voice. Been around for years, but yeah, that's mine to you.
Very cool. Very cool.
Just a couple more questions, and I know you're busy, and I really appreciate you coming on.
Sure.
Especially you said you got strep throat.
Yeah,
Oh
man. I've had
man,
it. I've had it 3 times in the last 4 months,
oof.
and I haven't. But prior to that, I haven't had it since I was a kid, and it's been a nightmare because, like, as soon as I get over it, I get it again, and
So do
as
you
soon as
have
I
your
get over it,
tonsils out?
not yet. I need to.
Yeah. Well, I think they say like after 4 times of getting strep, yeah, they're gonna
Oh, they
be
are
careful.
balloons. They're balloons in my neck
Uh,
right now. So,
yeah, I feel your pain. I've been there. It's not fun. How do you sing with that?
very carefully. So I use a lot of like throat
Spray?
coat tea. No, I drink like throat coat tea. I make sure I drink a ton of water,
Mm.
like at least like a gallon and a half of water during the day. So that way everything's well hydrated. I'll use throat lozenges that don't have menthol. For any singers out there, don't use menthol. It
Oh
freezes
wow.
up your vocal cords. Yeah.
Hmm.
So but yeah, I mean, it's a combination of stuff. Staying away from alcohol. Don't drink when you got problems with your throat, because it just dries it out, makes it even worse. And then, because I most of the time I'll do 3-hour shows, I won't take any breaks. So
wow.
yeah, I'll just play 3 hours straight through. And I mean, I've been doing that for over a year now. And yeah, I mean, you got to stay hydrated, and it's
you always get that, like, when you have to swallow, and you're like,
you got you got it, man.
You're like, oh, this is gonna hurt, but I got to do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been getting a little bit more used to singing when sick, which sucks, but but it's, just warm up. You got to warm up and warm up. I like increase my warm up time. I'm like warming up for like an hour before a show now.
Wow.
And then I spend like 20 minutes to a half an hour cooling everything down afterwards, because if I don't, I won't be able to talk tomorrow. So that's just, hopefully that's over soon. So
So, okay, a couple more. What do you have advice for any aspiring musicians?
Man, just do it. So find something that you're super passionate about, whether that's singing or playing guitar, or playing piano, whatever you want to do, and do it. Like, don't wait. That's my best advice I can give anybody is don't wait. Don't just like, oh, you know what? It's not the time right now. I don't have the time to do it, blah, blah, blah. If you have 20 minutes a day to scroll on Facebook, you have 20 minutes a day to pick up a guitar and learn how to play. You have 20 minutes a day to Google how to make, chords on a piano. You have time. You can make time if you're passionate enough about something. And I would say, that just get into it and use, all these years ago, whenever I first, when I was mowing lawns for guitar lessons, had YouTube been around, I might not have mowed lawns for guitar lessons.
For real.
Because you can get just as good a lessons off of YouTube now as you can from somebody else. And that's what I would say. I would say just find something and dive into it and enjoy it. Don't forget the fact you're going to suck. You're going to suck horribly at the beginning. Like it's unavoidable. It's unless you're some kind of child prodigy or middle-aged prodigy. In maybe my case, you're not going to be good at it right away. And just enjoy the learning process, because it's once you learn and once you're at that level where you know what you're doing, it's sometimes it's not as fun anymore. It was really fun in the beginning whenever you were learning everything. So just really cherish that time and don't worry if you stay doing something. And I always tell everybody this: if you commit, I'm going to learn how to play guitar. If you commit to that and you stay at it and you practice and you practice and you practice, you're not going to get worse.
Yeah,
it's impossible. You're always going to get better. It might take forever for you to get to the point where you're like, yes, I still think I'm terrible at guitar. People are like, good Lord, no, you're fine. And I'm like, God awful. I missed like 700 chords tonight. Like it's so bad, but I mean, you'll get there. You'll get there. You just got to stay consistent with it. Stay after it. Stay hungry, and you're gonna get there. You're gonna get there. So just jump into it. Start tomorrow. There you go.
Yeah. So if you believe in it, just work towards it. I've been playing drums for over 20 years, and I still don't. I don't feel like I'm the best drummer at all. And I still have room to improve. And I practice as much as I can. It's hard when drums are especially hard to practice.
Right.
But,
yeah, man. Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, and we'll go from there.
Sure. So you can find me on Facebook, Dave Gates Music. I'm also on Instagram at dgates for life, because I don't think that's ever going to change. If it does, I got to change my name. DaveGates.org is my website. That's got most of my dates on it. It's probably not as updated as my Facebook, but it's pretty good. It's also got links to the CD, the album, and some live videos and all that stuff. My YouTube channel doesn't have enough followers to have a name yet, and I'd tell you the name, but it's like RYWXQZ9512 or something like that. But I don't. No clue. So you can check me out. Just type in Dave Gates acoustic. Just type in David Gates acoustic on YouTube and look for somebody that looks like me, which is bald and not old with a mustache, because that's a different David Gates, and it's not going to be the music that you wanted to hear. So just a little bit of a warning there.
All right, man. And you also will be on Anchor. As soon as we put this up, we're going to be on Anchor. I also have recently joined Amazon Podcasts, so I'm on Amazon Music too.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yep. I got an email from Amazon saying, "Hey, do you want your podcast to be on here?" And I was like, "Yes, I do."
Perfect. Yeah, that's a good place to be, man.
Yep. I love Anchor because Anchor it inspired me to start this, for one. But also it goes to Spotify. It goes, so everywhere podcasts are going to be, you're going to be. So I hope everybody loves Dave Gates, and I really appreciate it, man.
Awesome. Absolutely. It was great talking to you, man.
Yeah, you too. I'm glad we could finally do it, man. I appreciate you penciling me in.
For sure. We'll do it again.
All right. Yeah. Next time it'll be live. We're going to jam.
All right. That sounds good to me, man.
All right. I'm always down to jam. I love music just as much as you do.
Awesome.
All right, buddy. Well, have a good night and have a good show tomorrow.
Hey, thanks, man. I'll talk to you then.
All right. See you later.
Later.